In the days leading up to Hurricane Melissa, slicing through Jamaica's western infrastructure, international aid agencies were on high alert, preparing for what seemed inevitable. Among them, the United Nations World Food Programme, the largest humanitarian organization in the world. And their Caribbean Regional Logistics Hub, based in Barbados, was built precisely for moments like this, to provide pre-positioned relief supplies and logistical support, crucial for disaster readiness. It was crucial for Jamaica.
In Barbados, we have a team of around 40 people. There are logistics experts, there are cash and social protection leads. We have our administrative and finance teams there. And while it's a small office by WFP global standards, we have very strong people and a lot of very strong young Caribbean leaders that we know will grow into leaders of the future in this particular space in the Caribbean. We also have a regional logistics hub. That logistics hub is a joint initiative of SEDIMA and the World Food Programme. We launched it with the Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Mottley, only a few months ago.
For us here in Jamaica, anxiety was a huge factor for the days leading up because the storm was so slow moving. It would help, I suppose, for those who wish to support. They had the additional time to put things in place. What was it like in those days when it was anxious for us while you were prepping?
It was very interesting because I think it was my colleague Etienne, who's my counterpart in Cuba, who was referring to Melissa as a whirling dervish because we couldn't predict where it was going to land. And it just kept moving slowly, and I think the slow movement of Melissa is why it's so powerful. You know, the storm drew on the deep warm waters south of Jamaica, grew in intensity, rapidly intensified, and that's what allowed us to really understand that it could be a very serious storm.
Brian Bogart, the WFP country director here in the Caribbean, says even with the unpredictable nature of Hurricane Melissa, the lead time to prepare for its arrival on Jamaica's shores was unprecedented.
I've never been in a situation where a storm allowed that 2 extra days, which is for us an eternity, to be able to think, to make sure that we had everything in place so that we could pivot and move quickly after impact.
Beryl notwithstanding, this hurricane was special, for want of a better word, with the destruction that it carried as a Category 5. The devastation that I saw really painted a picture with people in the rubble not used to what's happening around them. As you provide relief, what are you anticipating from a generation on the ground desperate, having not been in that situation before? How are you mitigating against being shocked by what you see on the ground?
I mean, I think the first and most important thing for us at this phase, it's not hard to imagine. Whenever we do this work, you think about what it would be like if you were in that situation. You put yourself in the shoes of the people who are impacted by disaster, and you dig deep and you try to find the best you have to offer to help them in their moment of need. The longer it takes for us to reach people, the more impact I think it has on their state of mind. And it's not simply a question of the trauma, which inevitably people are facing, but knowing that people care for them, knowing that there's a world out there that is compassionate, that is just, that is responsive to needs when you've lost everything you have. I think that is essentially the function of a global safety net and a function of the best of humanity.
And with humanity's best comes the tangible hope for a nation brought to its knees, economically and emotionally, now finding the strength to rebuild. Is there a part of the World Food Programme that actually helps people to try and sustain themselves, and how do you go about that?
Absolutely. I mean, that is fundamental, and I think, I don't think we need to teach the people of St. Elizabeth how to fish. They know how to fish very well. I was in St. Elizabeth Manchester, Clarendon, meeting with fisherfolk communities last year after Hurricane Beryl. I think what's fundamental is that we restore their ability for them to re-establish their livelihoods. And it's fundamental not just for those people and their livelihoods, but for the food supply of the country and the communities that they live in. St. Elizabeth is also the breadbasket of Jamaica, right? We're looking at a situation for the whole country where for the weeks and months ahead, it's, good luck finding scallions, right? It's going to be very difficult to get fresh fruits and vegetables, and they're probably going to be imported. There's a cost to importation, so it's not just from that ground level, which is fundamental, but there's also a cost to the entire economy. Now, what we try to do as the World Food Programme is work with partners to already start putting in place from the very beginning the idea of transition. We don't believe that just providing food or cash is the solution. It's the solution of today, but it's not the solution of tomorrow. And we need to be prepared for that transition. And we generally try to move from working on a food response, because right now that's what people need. But in a few weeks, they're going to want money, and they're going to want to be able to make decisions about what they eat, how they eat, and that also helps to restore economic activity, because markets can recover. And markets are fundamental to community and to getting the economy in the affected areas up and running again.
Hurricane Melissa tested the systems built to respond and proved that readiness can mean the difference between loss and survival. But there's little time for celebration, because the work must continue to heal this generation and to protect the next.